Hello, my fellow readers. It is I, Dark Symphony 777, with hopefully the final two fan fiction reviews of the year. As always, I'll be leaving links to the stories in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts of the story, and finally, this is my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of everyone in the world, so please respect that. So, the stories I am doing today. The first one is Remember a Twist in Time rewrite by Lightning Flare 1. It is a Danny Phantom fanfiction, and I will say I like Danny Phantom. It's one of my favorite Nickelodeon shows. I loved all the details about it. Going back makes me wish we could have gotten all those backstories for the ghosts. I know, for those of you who don't know, we had backstories for Desiree and Ember. Spoiler alert, Ember's part of the story. But we never got any backstories for any other characters. I do believe in 2009, Butch Hartman actually revealed in an interview that he had a couple other ghost backstories kind of lined up already. I know he had Walker, Skulker, and Blue Blood. Basically, Walker was worked at a jail. The jail dealt with a riot, and he kind of got killed during said riot. Skulker was a bounty hunter. He kind of got murdered in a job gone wrong. And then Blue Bull was tragic, where he literally starved to death in the woods because his parents just flat out abandoned him. I know there's two other backstories. Those are the ones I remember off the top of my head. But this story is about Ember McLean, or Amberlyn McLean. Oh my god. You know what? I just want to say this. This is not even a criticism against the story. It's just something I picked up on. Why are so many Ember stories obsessed with giving her the name, putting Ember in her name? Why did I just make that a singer name or a nickname? No, it's not that. Who's got to try and put it in their name? And it's usually always Amberlyn. I don't know why. It's just funny to think about. But let's just go back. So, how does the story start? Well, in 1975, of course. The story actually starts with Amber, basically living just a normal life. And basically, we got the whole thing with her backstory. Basically, if you listen to her song, when her first introduction, that's her backstory. That's kind of how they got her backstory into the show. She was kind of bullied in school a lot, and one of the jocks decided to play a prank on her to meet her at a movie theater. She went. She kind of got lonely, and the guy never showed up, and so she went home. Her God dang bird right behind me. Her parents are very, very old-fashioned, fitting for the 1970s, and usually in the story, usually in her backstory, the fire happens and she dies in the fire. That's why she has the fire-based powers. In this story, she's actually about to die. Basically, what happens is her parents have a stove, and the stove was actually was kind of started the short circuit. They were planning on repairing it, but it kind of caught on fire and kind of set fire to the entire house before it went through. And Ember panicked. In the modern day, Danny actually hears a cry for help. And he looks around. He sees a portal open up. He immediately realizes, God damn it, Clockwork. What are you bringing me to? What are you having me do this time? He goes back in time, unknowingly, and he sees Ember, and he saves Ember. Keep in mind, at the beginning, he doesn't know it's Ember. He just sees someone for help, and he goes to help him. And once he realizes it's Ember, he has a moment panic attacks, like, oh shit. Oh shit! He goes and realizes he can't get back. So now he's kind of have to deal with the repercussions of going in a portal, thank Clockwork, and having to befriend Ember. And what happens is he decides to stick around. He can't really go home because he knows Clockwork's doing something to do with it, but it's like he's not. Send me home, Clockwork. No, why not? Because I don't wanna. This is what you get for getting off my lawn. We're not getting off my lawn. That was 20 weeks ago. I don't care. I told you. You didn't listen. I had nothing to do with lawn. It had nothing to do with lawn. And basically what happens is Danny starts to fall in love with Ember, and he realizes that he's willing to fight Clockwork. Bad move, because we all know Clockwork's like canonically the most powerful ghost in the Ghost Zone. But the point still remains. He's willing to like keep Ember from dying because he's fallen in love with her and helping her deal with all her issues. She has a lot of major confidence issues and self-esteem issues. Her only real friend is Kitty, who kind of who's supposed to die too, but he kind of saves her and Johnny 13 as well. In the Ghost Zone, however, we're introduced to this ghost named Word. So basically, while Clockwork is the ghost of the dead, Word is the ghost of souls. Basically, he's he basically acts as like the Grim Reaper of the Ghost Zone. He's the guy who like brings the soul. He's the guy that the souls come to for them to slowly kind of get to the afterlife and pass on and all that. However, Word's kind of an asshole. He has a kind of addiction to like collecting souls that catch his fancy and warping it. And the story kind of implies, at least in this fanfiction universe, all of Danny's rogues gallery was created by Word, basically locking up all the souls and leave them there for as long as possible to break them and then mold them into what he wanted them to be. And basically, we get like Skulker and Technus and all that. Maybe not the Box Ghost because he's the Box Ghost. You don't doubt the power of the Box Ghost. We work. You don't doubt his power. And these two sides kind of collide because Word takes umbrage with Clockwork saying, "You're literally changing history. You're interfering in my job. Stop it. Kill her." Clockwork's like, "No, kill her. She's supposed to die. Why not?" Because of Clockwork. Doesn't answer anything. That's not an answer. Alright. Yeah. So what happens is Clockwork kind of basically knows that Word is like collect something, but he doesn't have any proof. So what happens is Clockwork lets Danny stay in the past because he wants Danny to be happy. He's like he's worked his butt off. He saved not only Earth but the Ghost Zone. He saved so many people so many times. I want him to have this. Not because it was ruined the title, because he deserves this one thing of happiness, especially after at the beginning of the story, at the beginning of Danny's side of the story, he does break up with Sam because Sam doesn't like the fact he's like famous, despite, and he's like Danny Phantom. it's kind of a play out thing. It's like, well, I kind of had. It's like, Danny, I don't like the fact you're popular. Well, I kind of had to reveal my identity because I kind of had no choice. It's like, I don't care. Stop it. I break it up with you because I can. Okay. So what happens afterwards is, after a while, after Amber and Danny fall in love, Word had enough. And he's like, no, fuck this. Goes back in time to 1975 and basically kidnaps Ember with the express purpose of killing her and keeping this timeline, in his words, the same. Basically, Ember is one of those people that kind of catches his fancy, and he basically wants her back. Danny getting super pissed and also finding out that they're kidnapping Kitty, goes and knocks out Johnny 13, brings him the Clockwork. It's like, Please protect him. All right. And then goes to confront Word. Keep in mind, Word's like as powerful as Clockwork. Probably not as powerful, but powerful enough that like Danny was still struggling. Meanwhile, Word basically tries to convince Ember to try and work for him, basically become an observer, or I think an observer or something like that, and wants her cooperation. It's like, yes, I'm evil. Please come team with me to take over the world. Basically, lets the drop. Also, lets the drop that Danny was Danny Davison, because that's what the name Danny gave himself in the past. Is Danny Phantom, and she like starts freaking out. It's like, he lied to me. It's like, I don't lie to you. Think about it. Like, okay. Danny rescues her. Danny manages to starts fighting Word. However, Word is like is basically outplaying Danny pretty easily, because it's like, it's still powerful. And so what happens is Clockwork manages to get Ember to a small area where time is completely frozen, and meets her ghost self. So basically, Amber meets Ember. Ember gives her like a medallion with her ghost power. It's like, this is a little bit of my ghost power. Use it wisely to help him. Amber teams up with Danny. They start at least kind of holding their own. Ember's like a pretty powerful ghost, and also at this point in time, this is after Phantom Planet, so Danny's pretty powerful too. They're at least somewhat holding their own against Word. And what happens is Ember shows up, realizing that the timeline is I'm pretty much dead anyway because since he saved her, I'm already dead. So I'm going to help you until time catches up with me and I die, which is what happens. Time catches up, and she just basically gets erased from history. But Ember manages to like help them enough that they manage to just weaken Word just enough so Danny can get the Fenton thermos, open it, and get him inside the thermos. But of course, if it wasn't for that, Word would probably curb stop them anyway. And the story ends with Danny going back home, still being sad. Clockwork talks to him. It's like, I just want you to have this happy moment. And he gives Danny a medallion. Said, hold this. You have to wear this at all times. What will it do? Well, it'll allow you to open the portal so that way you can go be with Ember. You want to be with her? Be with her. Go. And then the final chapter is like an epilogue of like the future, because this story is actually, I think, like a 5-part story series that ends up with them getting married and having kids and all that. And of course, they have like a little kid and a little girl and all that. It's very cutesy. I like the plot. It's very quirky. Granted, a lot of Ember stories usually tend to have Ember become alive. It's either Ember becomes a Haffa, because like the unofficial term for like people who turn into ghosts and back, the Haffa, or Danny somehow ends up in time and saves Amber, and that kind of creates a paradox. It's always something like that. I think this is one of the better one. I think there's one really good one where she becomes a Haffa. I may review that next year, depending on what happens with the big project. But I do like the execution. I think the idea of, instead of like, Danny Phantom saving Ember, then fixing the timeline after, or like changing the timeline, he goes back in time. He pretty much the entire story is just taking place in Ember's time after she dies, like, in the repercussions of it, because Ember was supposed to die, and then her death caused Kitty to grieve so much that she kind of caused herself and Johnny to die. Don't know where the shadow comes in with that. Just as good as mine. But I do think the plot is well done. It's very cliche. I can't call it cliche. The next story is gonna be cliche. I do think the story's good. I do think the characters are good. You pretty much have Danny, you have Ember, you have Word, Clockwork, you have Kitty. You also have like the bullies. You have Nick, and who is the head bully? Oh my god, who is the head bully? Uh, 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 crud. Crud, I forgot what the name of the, I forgot what the name, I forgot. I completely forgot the name of the bully. Uh, yeah, well, I think it's this one. Oh, Glitter. Glitter. There it is. Glitter. Oh, yeah, it's the cracker. She's cracked. So you have Danny, who's kind of feeling down because of the events of Phantom Planet. He kind of has to break up with Sam. It's it's kind of a fair reason why they had to break up because Danny, if I remember right from Phantom Planet, because it's been so long since I said Danny Phantom, he kind of literally had no choice but to reveal himself as Danny Phantom. He literally was not given an option, and that's and I, it is kind of realistic why she would break up with him for that. It's also kind of fair that he like I said he had no choice, and Sam breaking up because of that. It is a realistic source of tension. It's like, well, I hate you because you were never. I liked you because you were never popular, and now you're super popular. It's like, and now you're getting all this attention, and I can't stand that. And Danny's like only deciding to stay with Ember and fall in love with because it's kind of the opposite. It's like now he's realized he's back in time. No one knows who he is, and he falls in love with someone who wants to become popular. But he's like, it's kind of a reverse of the whole him and Sam Mansion thing. Like Sam fell in love with Danny because he wasn't popular. Danny falls in love with Ember because she's not popular. And 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 also when the future event happens and they're both we get the very famous Danny Phantom and Ember becoming a singer, they're both kind of okay with them being popular. It's a very good turnabout, I would say. Amber's a well-written character. She starts out as like a broken shell because the fact, isn't that like most other of these types of stories where they never explain where the fire came from? I think this is like one of the very, very few Ember-esque stories where they actually explain what caused the fire, the oven short circuiting. Um, what else to say about Ember? I do like how she develops. Like she gets a spine, but she doesn't. But the story ends with her not fully getting that spine until like the epilogue. So it's like they still have that hook for the rest of the story for the rest of the stories in the sequel. Not the rest of the stories in the series where she gets that more of that spine to her. I think it's rather well done. Amber's character arc, especially when she meets her now eventually to disappear ghost half, and she realizes what the bullet she dodged, and even Amber's kind of like agreeing with her. It's like, yeah, you dodged a bullet. Congratulations. Have fun. have fun with the baby pop. You have Clockwork, who's basically the big good. Like Clockwork has always been kind of a morally gray character. He's still technically a good guy, but he won't hesitate to literally killing people if it means making sure what happens. So him literally breaking his own rules to make someone happy. It's a very Clockwork thing to do. It's something he would do. He did the same thing in like Ultimate Enemy. Yeah, he did the same in Ultimate Enemy. He got a lot of flack for that too. Word was a good villain. I like, despite the fact he didn't really show up a lot, he did leave an impact on the whole idea that he's basically the god of souls, and he's like I got. He has like a big collection of massive collection of souls, and even one of them was like Adolf Hitler. And it's like, I wonder what Hitler's soul ghost looks like. Be a crazy thing. And he's also very hammy and over the top. He definitely fits into into the world of Danny Phantom. I even like the touch of like they don't really fully beat him. They kind of just survive him because he's still, despite how powerful Amber, with Ember's magic and the limited source, Danny and Ember were, he was still kind of out of their legs, so they could only like stun him enough to get the thermos open to lock him in there. So it's a nice little touch. I don't really have anything bad about the characters. I like Danny growing to love Ember was very nice. It was very well done. I like Glitter. She was a realistic bully. Kitty's friendship with Ember was really well done. Johnny's like the only odd man out because Johnny's there. If Kitty's there, the Johnny's somewhere, and he just kind of shows up and like, "Hey, I'm just here. Want a dope? Rope a dope? Okay then." Grammar wise, I don't see any grammar errors. Pacing wise, it's nearly 50,000. I think it's paced perfectly. The writing is immaculate. Everything is as good as it could be. It is a little underwhelming mainly because of the first story of a series. I might review the whole series at a future time, so I get a better perspective of this story as it by itself. But as it stands right now, as this one story by itself with no connection to the rest of the series, it's good. It's not. It's great. It barely passes great, but doesn't reach amazing. I do think it's good. I will recommend it. I do. Probably my favorite part would probably have to be Ember and Amber's conversation. Like, let's see if I can find it. Right here. I know it's right here. No, it was at the somewhere here. Yeah, here it is. Like right here, where they conserve, where they basically talk. Amber is kind of like accepting fate that the moment she steps out, she's pretty much a goner. Like she knows it. The other Ember knows it. Everyone knows it. That's just let's just deal with it and all that. I think the story is good. What would I fix? Nothing. There is nothing I can think of that's worth fixing. Final thoughts on this story? I honestly really do want to read the rest of the series. Maybe do a review on the original version of the story. I don't know for sure. Mainly because I do want to read the rest. I mainly want to read the rest of the series because I think it's hard to review a story of a series when you don't know it's a series until like partway through the story, and you realize, oh, a lot of that stuff makes sense when you take in the fact that it's a series. I really don't have anything more to say. So that is Remember a Twist in Time rewrite. Let's go to the next story. That is Foe to Admirers, a lighthearted. Oh, I love this story. I love this story. This is a great story. So, I need to before I start the story, there's two things you have to realize what it's about. The first thing, this is actually a recursive fanfiction. And it's a recursive fanfiction of a comic series. Let me actually pull up the comic. It is a fanfiction based off this comic by Pencils. And I've actually read this comic. It's still ongoing. But good God, I like this comic. And I wasn't expecting is someone to dedicate their to a year. No, wait, publish. No, two. I just realized this story was done in 2 months. What the? Okay. Okay. That completely cooked me off guard. Wow, 2 months with this quality. Just wow. Okay. The other thing is this story plays into the idea of the Bowsette comics. Everyone knows what Bowsette is. Those of you who don't know, first off, why are you living on the rock? Second off, it was a fan-made thing that was kind of inadvertently created by Nintendo when they released a trailer for I believe it was New Super Mario Brothers U, and it had Toadette grabbing what's called the Super Crown and turning into a clone of Peach. And so someone on Twitter is like, "Hey, yo, what happens when you put it on Bowser?" and we get Bowsette. I'm still caught off guard by the fact that the story just took 2 months. Wow. Okay. Plot. So here's the plot for this story. This story takes the first panels of the comic. This takes the entire context of the original comic and parlay that into. Let me actually get back up here. Parlays that into this page. No, not this one. There you go. I don't know why I showed that. Okay. Bowsette comic. Okay. I need to actually show these. Okay. Come on. There we go. This story takes place between this comic and this comic. Wow. So, okay. So let's actually get to the plot. So the plot is, it's after the events of Mario Odyssey. Everyone knows the ending for that. Basically, Bowser and Mario, they kind of get in front of Peach and they just kind of put each other, try and give Peach flowers, and she basically rejects both of them and leaves them on the moon. They get back home, and Mario's kind of depressed, but then runs into Bowser. Bowser is more depressed, but he's mostly depressed from Mario. He's very depressed. And it's like, well, me? I'm used to Peach rejecting me. However, I hate the fact she rejected you. It's like, why? Because without her loving you, I can't be a good kidnapper. I can't kidnap you. I can't make it hurt. I cannot do this. I cannot do that. I can. And Bowser is very depressed, and so he's like, before I sulk back into my castle, I at least want to take do the scenic route and have a sight of the Mushroom Kingdom. Let me have this. And so Mario starts talking to Bowser, and he's kind of feels sorry for him. It's like, I didn't know how you felt that way. And Bowser's about to go. He grabs a item block and he throws it at Mario, and it hits him, and it drops the Super Crown. And he realizes, oh, that's what was in that box. And basically Mario's like, wait, isn't this Toadette's? No, this. Wait a minute. What? I got an idea. And thus, they come up with the idea that Bowser would willingly put on the crown specifically to make Peach jealous. Because he's like, I want Peach to love you. But we need her to realize that she loves you. Simple. I'm going to pretend to be your girlfriend and make her jealous enough that she fights for her man. We good? Can't we just... We good? Come on. Come on, agree with me. Come on. Let's do this. Come on. It's like, sound interesting. Let's try it. And thus we actually get an adaptation of the original comic where, like, they're playing tennis. And they're like, huh? And Bowset's, of course, basically gushing over Mario. She has to hide her shell and she has to hide her tail. It's like, oh, Mario, please say sweet things to me. It's like, I love your eyes. They sparkle like rubies. He doesn't actually say that, but I'm banging it up. Of course, Peach immediately finds out it's Bowser, because of course it is. And Peach is like, you're fucking with me. You're going out of your way to fuck with me. No. Maybe. And so we get an entire multiple chapters worth of them constantly basically hounding Peach. Like, they go to Isle Delfino with the express purpose of, like, trying to rile Peach up enough to just basically jump on Mario and say, no, he's my man. However, Peach is actually very paranoid because she's been hearing rumors of invaders. Spoiler alerts, it's Wart. And she's not really paying that much attention, and this causes kind of a backfire where Mario and Bowsette start fight. They start arguing, they fight each other, but then they slowly go on more dates over the course of months, and they actually start realizing they like each other, and they actually eventually fall in love, which leads to the end of the plot where Wart shows up, has a bunch of flower points, is like, yes, I am going to flood the Mushroom Kingdom. Come on, work with me. And Bowser's like actually having second thoughts because, like, Mario, no, I can't. I may be a king, but I'm not that type of person. And of course, we got a big fight. There's a big fight scene between Wart and Bowsette. Bowsette actually loses and nearly dies. Bowser Jr. goes to find Mario and literally begs him to help him with Bowsette. They find her. Peach finds them. And Peach immediately doesn't trust them. And of course, we got like a whole shenanigans when they like sneak into Bowser Castle to fight Wart. There's a big fight scene and all that. And then they should defeat Wart. And then afterwards, Bowser literally goes off the radar for like a couple months. He comes back as Bowsette, and they come up with the idea of the wedding, and the story actually ends with the beginning of the wedding ceremony. The comic actually starts at the very end of that wedding ceremony before they officially get married. So it's used as a segue to go. It's like, go read the comic. No, don't read the one about Pinkie Pie's and her family's butts. Don't read that one. Why? But it's pony butts. Do you want to look at pony butts for like 100 panels? Not really. Good. Because there's too much butt. That's butt overload right there. All right. I glossed over the plot because there's a lot of technical details. So let's start with Bowser, the woman, the Koopa of an hour. Oh boy, I loved Bowsette's character in this story. She starts out as, it plays into Bowsette's character arc in the comic because, of course, not all the time, because this story was written when I think the story was still starting out relatively, so there wasn't a lot. I think at this point in time, we didn't in the comics were like probably just, and this is a guess. The comics took place at the point of the story where Bowser only just got into the base where the Furminator is, because the whole plot of like the first chapter or two of Bowser's saga is the fact that Bowser has like a crisis of confidence because she realizes that Mario might only like Bowser for who she looks like, and basically just tries to say that we gotta keep we. I want to be able to stay as Bowser. We got to figure out how to stick the crown's power on me without anything bad happening. And of course, Kamek's like confused, like, wait, what? That's not what I said at all. Dramatic irony, I guess. Uh, she starts out as like a very depressed Bowser who's like who only really genuinely wants to help, and he's genuine. He genuinely wants to help Mario get Peach, but he thinks this is like the only way he can do it, and he basically gets the crown. He starts acting very much like a tomboy. You're still constantly reminded, even with the sweeter moments, it's still Bowser. It's like, all right, who's face about to punch? Constantly belittling Mario with like alliterative insults, like mushroom muppet. That's just one example. There's a lot of examples in like this 76,000 word story. Um, there's a lot of nuance touches with his. Another one thing is like the design of Bowser. Like it starts as the traditional peach looking design, but as the story goes on, he's slowly, because he's wearing the crown so much, he slowly turns into more tan Bowser. You know, the darker skinned, red haired Bowser, and then eventually, because to set up the whole wedding thing, he kind of turned back into the traditional peach version. It's a little touch. It's very well done. Uh, Bowser, um, Bowser's character starts out as like I said, very rough, but as she slowly starts to hang out with Mario more and more, she gets like very, very conflicted. It's like because she doesn't know what to do because she's falling in love with someone that never really happened before. So she's like, she doesn't know how to deal with the situation of falling in love because he's always been the one kind of chasing the love of Peach that kind of rile her and trying to get her to marry him. But this is like someone who genuinely cares about him, and he's like, and a big part of that is like he's starting the daydream. He's very conflicted, but like all of his men are like, we just want everyone's like, we don't care. We just want you happy. Like Mario, even if it's weird because it's Mario, he's making you happy. Just go for it. And he's completely conflicted because in the comics, he was pretty much raised as like the whole princess and the dragon thing idea. So it's like it's conflicting to what he realizes is happening with Mario, and that's like causing a lot of internal strife of him realizing what he wants and what he was raised on. A lot of Bowser's characters kind of root in the fact that you need to actually read the comic. This is really my only genuine complaint about the story. You don't get the full birth of Bowser's character unless you read the comic, and that's really it. The comic's not really that long. I think it's only at chapter 4. Yeah, you can literally spend like 20 minutes just reading the comic. It's on a million places, so you can easily just find it. Like you can use the website I chose, Comics. But it's not that. But it gets you all you need to know about who Bowser is as a character. That comic honestly will just will do basically do the deal better than anything I said for her character. I guess that's an F to read the comic. Mario. I like Mario too. He starts out, he basically only joins up with Bowser because he's just so depressed that he's like, Like, if Bowser's willing to help me, I might as well give this a shot. So he kind of hesitantly does the stuff with Bowser. He kind of lets her kind of walk all over him. It's like, ooh, I want these boots. Buy these boots, please. It's like, but it's expensive, but Peach is right over there. Credit, please. And we get the feel for Mario because every time he thinks like, oh, Bowser's making a big step forward. She like crushes it because of how Bowser was raised, and that's starting to conflict. And even Mario's starting to realize it near the end when he's like, this, all his actions, all his behavior towards him, all the insulting, the bullying, the punishing as Bowser is just a simple defense mechanism, and you feel sorry for Mario because you actually want Mario to get the girl. You want Mario to get the Koopa. Do it, do it, Mario, get her, and he does. It's a great, sweet character arc. There's not any complexities. Very cliche Mario's character. Honestly, this is actually a very cliche story. Just because something is cliche doesn't mean it's bad. It's all down to the execution. Peach. I do like Peach. I think her coming off as like her, in essence, the same thing as Bowser, where she's trying to keep her sense of self centered. So like she doesn't really bother. She doesn't get bothered by Bowser at first because she knows it's Bowser. What are they gonna do? They're just making me jealous. But over time, when she realizes they're actually genuinely starting to fall for each other, that's when she gets jealous, and she realizes that maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should have actually agreed to Mario. And she starts to feel conflicted, but she's trying to hold it just like Bowsette. She's trying to hold it all together and focus on the whole thing with the rumors. And it does make for an interesting dichotomy between Bowsette and Peach in the fact that they're both technically going through the same arcs. They're just going about it in different ways. They're everything about them is like their worldview is kind of collapsing in the fact of like their relationship with Mario and how they're interacting with their citizens and all that. How it comes from that. It's very depressing, Peach's character, because at the end she realizes that she basically ruined her relationship with Mario, and she realizes that Bowsette's right for him, despite the fact I don't really like it. Granted, we do get a hilarious shot, like Peach just completely shocked in the fact they're actually going through with being married. Ah, yeah. Let me go back. I guess because you can actually see Peach's. You can actually see Peach's reaction on this page while waiting for that load. Uh, there's even like a lot of these three characters are really well done. You really get the feel and kind of get sad for everything that happens. These types of stories I love when you feel for the characters and you actually connect with the characters. Like Mario's like depression and like resolve because he realizes that Bowser's basically just acting on a defense mechanism. Here it is. There's Peach right there. There she is. There she is. With Mario wanting to save Bowsette and trying to help her out. Bowsette, like her conflicting feelings about the whole thing involving her relationship with Mario and even like not wanting it to end and wanting to be happy and realizing that she now has a chance of true happiness and even her own kingdom is like telling her to like go for it because it's like he's making you happy. We don't care if he was like an enemy to us. Like he's doing it. Do it. And Peach, her conflictions of her relationship with Mario and the fact that she's kind of going inverse, where she's kind of becoming more mad and slightly unhinged because she's focusing on too much stuff at once, and she realized too late that she kind of let the person that she actually cared for go. It's a very well crafted story. Grammar wise, nothing wrong with grammar. Pacing, everything is paced perfectly. Everything is written perfectly. There's even a lot of little Easter eggs near the end where they like constantly reference other Nintendo works, like Peach literally calling Wart Slippy, which is actually a hilarious reference. It's like, I didn't know Slippy lost his let himself go. It's like, it's Wart! It's Wart! My name is Wart! No respect! I am not a fan of the random Skyrim reference. That is just out of place. I'm showing it. It's actually right here. Let's see. It's near the end. Yeah, here it is. Basically, we get a reference to the Peacher thing where like Peach actually gets like a Koopa hat that turns her into a Koopa. And when Wart sits on her, the hat kind of lands on her, and she lifts up, and she turns into Koopa. She lifts them up, and like even Bowser's like, "Quick, Peach, roar!" What? What? Why would I do that? Roar, dang you! But Bowser, roar! Fuss This is just completely random. It's like, I can understand all the Nintendo references because it's Nintendo, but why is there a random Skyrim reference? I will never understand that. Is it cool? Yes. Is it out of place? Double yes. What will I have to say? Would I recommend this? Absolutely. Like I said, I still think you need to read the comic, but again, the comic's not that long, and the comic is a web comic, so you can find it anywhere. But I think ultimately the story does a very, very good job of not only showing you the dimensions of the gap between the original comic and Bowsette Saga, but also doing it in a way that makes everything feel very natural and flows very well. I have zero complaints from the story. It's a phenomenal story. Cliche, yes, but still phenomenal. The execution is immaculate. My favorite part would actually have to be the reveal of Bowsette as Bowser. For context, instead of basically they kind of forgot at this point of the story, they actually forgot about Peach. They're kind of just ignoring Peach more or less, and are just kind of just relaxing and spending the day together. Daisy is with Peach, and Daisy's like kind of cheer her up. It's like, come on, let's do something. Do something. Peach and Daisy kind of come across Mario and Bowser. Peach and Peach notices them actually about to kiss, and Peach completely freaks out, loses her temper, and basically starts to catfight with Bowsette, like trying to get the crown off so that way everyone can see. It's like, this is Bowser. It's like, and like, Bowsette kind of wins the scuffle. She kind of pushes Peach away, and she's like, this is my man, watch this. And like she's about to kiss Mario again, but Daisy uses the power of Boomerang, knocks the crown off her head, and basically reveals the illusion is actually Bowser. And Mario looks at Bowser, and he looks at himself, realizes that he's not Bowser anymore, and he freaks out, and basically does like one last attempt to be like Bowser. Basically, just Hogposh grabs Peach like, "Aha! This is my evil plan all along, suckers!" And then runs off. Mario falls off, goes after him because he realizes that something is going on. They leave Toad Town. Mario and Bowser get like in a scuffle. Saves Peach. Bowser actually has Mario dead the rights, and he's about to like crush his head, but then he can't. And even Mario's like, you just want hell. I just want to help you. And after that, Daisy shows up with the town, and they drive Bowser off. However, Mario realizes that Bowser is a broken person inside. Follows up to Bowser. We get like an entire chapter of Bowser and Mario kind of venting their side's frustrations of like Bowser venting his frustration and Mario trying to help him through it while like fighting. And they realized, all right, well, if you can't fight me like this, I will make you hate me. Basically, like Bowser's last stand mentally, because he's so used to people hating on him. So it's like he puts on the crown, he starts fighting Mario as Bowsette, and like he's actually faster in this form. And Mario like stops fighting because he realizes that Bowsette ultimately just is just trying to vent and release all her pent up anger. And Mario basically just trying to help her. Like he doesn't want to fight, but Bowsette constantly tells him like, "Why aren't you hitting me? Why aren't you fighting back? Why don't you hate me?" And Mario, and it's a very depressing scene with Mario trying to like get through to Bowsette, like realizing like I cared about you like this, and Bowsette like just despite wanting it like so desperately trying to maintain that internal status quo she had for years and years, and just wanting it doesn't know how to act, just basically constantly lashes out and nearly kills Mario, and the whole thing kind of ends with like Bowsette just completely breaking down and making a firewall between her and Mario, so that way Mario can't follow, and just going home. It's very depressing. It's a very sad moment. I don't have any. I. It's just. It's a very good story. I don't have, and that part was very very well done. I. I was actually. I remember when I first read that part, I was actually crying because of how well done it was and how the execution was done between like the reveal like to the Toad Towns, like it's Bowser, the Bowser trying like one last like one just trying to maintain that status quo to like nearly winning but refusing to go follow through because of like all the good memories he had, to Mario just trying to help Bowser and Bowser putting on the crown specifically so that way she can actually try and get Mario as angry as possible to kind of go through with fighting back. It's just a depressing, drama filled moment that is just you need to read to believe, in my opinion. So that is Photo Admirer, a lighthearted Bowsette fan fiction, and Remember a Twist in Time. These are both good stories. Photo Admirer, a great story. So that is my review of these two stories. These have been Dark Symphony 777 and Cut.